5 high schoolers report being bullied each year, but a new Boston University study shows bullying rates tumbled during the pandemic and haven't yet returned to pre-pandemic levels. In the fourth part of our series on protecting your children, Western Mass News reporter Mary Wilson is digging deeper, finding that young people are warning that cyberbullying is now prominent.
We have to keep talking about it. It's one of those things that kind of gets brushed aside because nobody wants to talk about it.
Sarah Goff leads the local nonprofit Unify Against Bullying, which raises money for anti-bullying initiatives in schools. Over the pandemic, those programs came to a halt and bullying, like school, went online.
It's really dangerous because people can be anonymous, so they kind of have more freedom to say whatever they want. And even if you're not anonymous, you still feel like bolder, just hiding behind a screen.
But a recent Boston University study tracking patterns using internet search data found a 30 to 40% drop in bullying and cyberbullying when schools went remote.
What was a surprise is that cyberbullying appeared to track in-person bullying. In other words, both declined at roughly the same rate.
Co-author Andrew Bacher Hicks says this shows that in-person interaction is usually at the onset of both bullying and cyberbullying. Levels of both rose when schools reopened.
Even though bullying dropped during the pandemic, it remained lower than historical levels, even when schools reopened for in-person instruction.
This, he theorizes, could be due to more structured time in schools thanks to COVID policies like social distancing. But there have been drawbacks.
I don't know, again, if we've seen so much of an increase in bullying, but we have seen an increase in aggressive behavior. Westfield
Public Schools Superintendent Stefan Zaporowski says while there were fewer reports of bullying, with only 175 students disciplined for bullying last year statewide, compared to 941 in the 2018-19 school year, time at home and increased anxiety has led to more conflicts and outbursts in schools.
When you're in school, students are able to develop social skills and behavioral norms, and being out of school for a year and a half plus, we're seeing a deficiency there, and it is affecting behavior in school.
He says 1 out of every 3 students had some mental health concerns during the pandemic. The district brought in an outside counseling agency and hired 8 additional counselors. Still, there is a list of students waiting to be seen.
There was a mental health focus that was beginning probably before the pandemic, but I think it has exacerbated that situation immensely.
Zaporowski makes a clear distinction between these one-off conflicts and bullying, which is repeated behavior. He says although it went unreported during the pandemic, it doesn't mean it wasn't happening. DESE did not return our request for recent data on bullying by airtime.
If your child doesn't share that with you or doesn't share it with us, then we don't know about it.
Like most districts, Westfield has an anonymous online form where bullying reports can be submitted. Goff says kids often hide the fact that they're being bullied, but parents may notice they've become more withdrawn or introverted.
Talk to your kids, Don't sit there and be like, oh my God, is everything okay? You want to just really make sure that you're having that open dialogue so that if something does happen to them, they're very comfortable coming to you.
Just as important, encouraging your kid to step in if they see bullying and knowing that those hiding behind a screen do not dictate their self-worth.
Anyone that's receiving those messages, know that the person who's, saying those things to you does not matter. The people who love you, your friends, your family, those people's opinions are the ones that matter.
Mary Wilson, Western Mass News.
Yeah.